The call came in at 3:17 a.m., just as Detective Ryan Mercer was locking his apartment door, heading out for a midnight coffee run he probably didn't need. The dispatcher's voice was tight, too controlled to be routine. A body had been found in the lobby of an upscale hotel in Washington, D.C. No ID, no witnesses, no signs of forced entry, just a single bullet wound to the chest and a foreign banknote clenched in the victim's hand. By the time Mercer arrived on scene, federal agents were already circling like vultures. One of them, a woman in a dark suit with no badge on display, leaned in close enough for him to catch a trace of cigarette smoke and winter mint. "This doesn't stay local," she murmured. "Why?" Mercer asked. She held up a plastic evidence sleeve. Inside it, a torn scrap of paper with a phone number and a single word written in Russian: "Return." Whoever the victim was, he hadn't just died in the wrong place. He'd brought another country's secrets with him. Detective Ryan Mercer ducked under the yellow tape as hotel staff huddled in silence behind the reception desk. The lobby of the Halcyon Grand was polished marble and gold trim, a place meant for diplomats and millionaires, not corpses. The victim lay on his back near the elevators, shirt darkened with blood, face turned slightly as if he tried to look over his shoulder before dying. No shell casing, no blood trail, no panic from the guests upstairs, a clean kill. Mercer crouched beside the body, male, mid-30s, European features, shot at close range. A crime tech handed him a clear evidence bag. Inside it, the foreign banknote, folded, smoothed, and gripped so tightly they'd had to pry his fingers open. "Currency, I did." Mercer asked. "Not yet. Looks Eastern European, maybe Russian, maybe Baltic." Before he could stand, footsteps echoed across the marble. Federal agents, 3 of them, no visible badges, no introductions, just quiet authority and expensive coats. The lead woman, the same one from earlier, gave Mercer a look that wasn't quite hostile but definitely territorial. "You're Detective Mercer," she said. He didn't confirm or deny. "Funny how you beat homicide to the scene." "We didn't," she replied. "We were already nearby." Mercer's jaw tightened. Doing what? Psychic patrol. She ignored the jab and pointed to the body. "He wasn't supposed to die here. Most people aren't." Mercer straightened. "ID? None. He was carrying a prepaid U.S. phone and a hotel keycard. That's it." Mercer scanned the lobby. Cameras nestled in the corners. A concierge watching from behind frosted glass. 2 uniforms whispering near the doors. He turned back to the agent. "You planning to share why this case suddenly jumped the food chain?" She reached into her coat and pulled out the plastic sleeve with the torn scrap of paper. The word in Russian stared back at him. "Return. You know what that means?" she asked. "I know it doesn't belong to a tourist." She slipped the evidence away. "Let us handle it." Mercer didn't move. "This is my city, my crime scene." For the first time, her expression shifted. Something between warning and respect. "Then stay out of our way and maybe you'll keep it." Before Mercer could answer, a hotel security guard rushed over. "Detective, someone accessed the victim's room after he was already dead." Mercer's head snapped toward him. "What?" The guard swallowed. "Security logs show his keycard used again 10 minutes ago." Mercer didn't wait. He was already sprinting for the elevators, hand on his gun, pulse pounding. If someone had come back, they weren't looking for the victim. They were looking for whatever he brought with him. The elevator doors slid open with a muted chime, and Mercer stepped out onto the 14th floor, gun drawn, eyes scanning the hallway. Plush carpet, soft lighting, silence, the kind that felt staged. Room 1403. The number on the dead man's keycard. Mercer approached the door, his footsteps absorbed by the carpet. He glanced at the digital lock. The last access light was still faintly blinking. It hadn't been long. He pressed his ear against the door. Nothing. He tried the handle, locked from the outside. Whoever came back had already left, or was still inside, waiting. He slid a spare latex glove from his pocket, gripped the handle gently, and swiped the keycard the techs had pulled off the body. Click, the lock disengaged. Mercer pushed the door open fast and low, weapon up, ready to fire. Dark room, curtains drawn, the faint scent of cologne and gun oil. He flicked the lights. The room was too neat. No suitcase, no clothes, no toiletries, just a half-empty glass of water on the nightstand, and a charging cable plugged into the outlet. No phone attached. Mercer swept the room methodically. Bathroom clear, closet empty, balcony door locked. The bed looked untouched. He spotted a small metal item near the dresser. He crouched and picked it up with his gloved fingertips, a SIM card tray pin, the kind used to eject SIM cards from cell phones. He scanned the carpet, tiny impressions in the fibers, different shoe sizes, more than one pair. Someone had searched the room fast and precise. Then his gaze landed on something else, a ventilation grate slightly misaligned beneath the window. Mercer knelt, unscrewed it carefully with his pen tool, and reached inside. His fingers touched something smooth and rectangular. He pulled it out, a passport, dark red European. The cover embossed with a coat of arms he didn't immediately recognize. Before he could open it, footsteps thundered down the hallway. Mercer stood, gun up again. The lead female agent from downstairs entered the doorway with two of her men. She froze when she saw what he was holding. "You searched without clearance," she said. Mercer didn't flinch. "You wanted the scene. Now you've got it." She stepped forward slowly, eyes fixed on the passport. "That belongs to us." Mercer slipped it into his coat pocket instead. "Then get a warrant." Her jaw tightened. "You don't understand what you're walking into." Mercer stepped past her, deliberately brushing her shoulder. "Lady, everyone keeps telling me that, and I'm still walking." He headed for the elevator without looking back. As the doors slid shut, he opened the passport. Name, Artem Lazarev, nationality, Russian Federation entry stamp, Dulles International Airport 2 days ago. Then something caught his eye. A torn corner of paper tucked between the pages. Same handwriting as the scrap found on the victim. One word this time in English. He didn't make it. Mercer's pulse quickened. Someone else had come through with him, and they were still out there. Mercer didn't head back to the precinct. He didn't call it in. He walked straight out of the Halcyon Grand, past the cruisers and black SUV, past the uniforms, pretending not to stare. The cold D.C. air hit his face like a warning he ignored. He got into his unmarked sedan, shut the door, and pulled the torn note from the passport. He didn't make it. Not past tense like a report, present tense like someone watching. Mercer checked his mirrors. A black SUV, same one he'd seen outside the hotel earlier, sat half a block down, lights off, engine running, no plates. He started the car and pulled into traffic. The SUV followed. He didn't change speed. Didn't turn. He let them think they were subtle while his mind ran calculations. If they wanted to stop him, they'd have done it already. They were watching, tracking, waiting. At the first intersection, he darted into a service alley, killed his lights, and waited. The SUV rolled past a second later. Amateurs would have sped up. These didn't. Mercer exhaled once, started the engine again, and swung back onto the street, heading not to headquarters, but to someone who owed him a favor. 20 minutes later, Anacostia waterfront Mercer parked outside a dimly lit bar disguised as a closed pawn shop. He buzzed twice on the steel side door. It opened a few seconds later. "Jesus, Ryan," said the man inside. "You look like you picked a fight with the feds." "Not yet," Mercer replied, stepping in. "You still pull airport logs." The man Tariq Hassan, ex-Interpol Systems analyst, locked the door behind them. "I do if you brought me something worth the felony." Mercer handed him a photo of the passport page. Dulles, 2 days ago. Cross. Reference Artem Lazarev. Find who came in on the same flight. Tariq squinted. "Russian. Was. He's dead now. Cause. Bullet through the chest and a message in a language I don't like. Tariq powered up a laptop that definitely wasn't legal. Give me 5 minutes." Mercer paced the narrow room, eyes flicking to the boarded window and the narrow stairwell at the back. He kept replaying the scene, the band note, the agents, the torn message. Tarek whistled. "Here we go. Flight from Warsaw, manifest as locked, but baggage logs aren't. 2 passengers flagged for secondary screening on arrival. Names, Artem Lazarev." Tarek paused, eyes narrowing. In a second one, female, name Elena Morozova. No departure stamp showing she left the country. Mercer's gut tightened. Address, registered to a temporary Airbnb in Georgetown. Booked with a burner card yesterday. Mercer headed for the door. "Ryan," Tarek called, "you're going after her alone." "No," Mercer said. "I'm getting to her before someone else does." Georgetown, 41 minutes later, the townhouse was quiet, blinds drawn. Mercer approached the front door without hesitation, hand hovering near his weapon. Then he saw it. The doorframe's lock was split, not kicked, picked clean and forced open. Someone had beaten him here. He slipped inside, silent as a shadow. Living room, empty. Kitchen, clear. A phone charger still plugged into the wall. A coffee mug in the sink, still wet. Then a faint floor creak came from upstairs. Mercer drew his gun and ascended 1 step at a time. Halfway up, a voice cut through the dark. "Don't move. Put the gun down and walk into the hall." Female. Steady Russian accent, but controlled. Mercer didn't lower his weapon. Elena Morozova. Silence, then turn around. He did. A woman stood at the top of the stairs, her hand steady on a compact pistol aimed at his heart. Dark hair, winter coat, eyes that hadn't slept in days. She looked him over once. "You're not one of them." "No," Mercer said, "but they're close." She hesitated, but only for a second. "They killed him," she said. "I know. They're hunting me next." "I figured." Her grip tightened. "Then why are you here?" Mercer met her eyes. "Because whatever he died for didn't stay in that hotel, and you're the only person left who knows what it is." Before she could answer, headlights flared through the front window. Silent, bright, and too many for coincidence. 3 black SUV, no sirens, no mockings. Mercer's voice dropped to a whisper. "They just found you." And then, simultaneously, every light in the house went out. The blackout swallowed the entire house in an instant. No lights, no hum of electricity. Just the sound of engines outside and the creak of boots moving in formation. Mercer didn't waste a breath. "Stay behind me," he whispered to Elena. Downstairs, the front door groaned as someone forced it open. No shouting, no warnings. These weren't cops. They were cleaners, trained, silent, and here to erase loose ends. Mercer's eyes had already adjusted to the dark. He grabbed Elena's wrist and moved fast down the hallway toward the upstairs bathroom. A small window overlooked the narrow service alley behind the townhouse. He unlatched it quietly and pushed it open. "You jump first," he said. Elena hesitated only a heartbeat before slipping through. Mercer followed, landing beside her behind a stack of trash bins and a brick wall that shielded them from the main street. Boots thudded across the upstairs floor they just left. Mercer crouched low. Move. They slipped along the alley's edge, shadows against shadows. As they neared the side street, a silenced shot cracked. The bullet buried itself in the brick inches from Mercer's head. They ran not toward the street, not toward the SUV. Instead, Mercer veered left into a narrow passage between 2 garages. A second shot hissed past. They cut through another alley and emerged behind a row of old warehouses near the river. The SUV were now spreading out, headlights sweeping the streets like hunting lamps. Elena's breathing was sharp but controlled. They won't stop. Mercer didn't slow. Neither will I. They reached a rusted fire escape along the side of a 3-story building. Mercer motioned upward. Climb. Elena went up first. Mercer followed, his senses wired tight. As they reached the roof, he heard the faint thump, thump, thump of rotor blades in the distance. A helicopter. They crossed the rooftop quickly. From up here, they could see the SUV repositioning. The house they'd escaped from was now lit by tactical flashlights sweeping room to room. Mercer turned to Elena. "Tell me what Artem brought into this country." She looked at him, exhausted but clear-eyed. It wasn't money. It wasn't weapons. It was information. Names. Officials tied to covert operations, black budgets, disappearances, people who don't officially exist. And the file? Mercer asked. Elena reached into her coat and pulled out a small encrypted hard drive. He died protecting this. If they take it, the truth dies with it. Mercer took the drive, weighed it in his hand for half a second, then slipped it into his inner coat pocket. That was when the helicopter crested the tree line, its spotlight sweeping across the roof like a white sun. Mercer didn't blink. "They'll come from above next," he said, "not through the stairs." Elena glanced at the edge of the roof. "And what's the plan?" Mercer checked his pistol. "1 full mag and 5 loose rounds. When I fire, you run. Don't stop. If they get you, none of this matters." She stared at him, and you. Mercer gave the kind of smile men wear when they've already made peace with the consequences. "I'll buy you 30 seconds. Maybe more if they're stupid." Voices echoed below. The helicopter banked, spotlight locking onto the roof. Elena's voice lowered. "Will we survive this?" Mercer didn't lie. "If you do, then so do I." Then he stepped forward, aimed straight at the helicopter cockpit, and fired the first shot. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.